Hello, today I'm going to do a quick tutorial on transferring UV custom properties from a mesh emitter to your particle color. Um, this technique I imagine will change in the upcoming builds. In one of the recent training videos with Noseman, he was saying the devs were a little unhappy with how kind of many clicks it took to get this to happen. So I imagine there'll be some refinements, but for now, this is the technique and we can talk about it. So let me just copy my camera and this model into a new scene. I'm just using this free 3D model because it has UVs and a texture to use just for quick accessibility. The first thing we're going to do is select our geometry and hit Simulate Emitters Mesh Emitter. And that'll give us a particle group. That'll give us a particle group, which is great. I like to rename it immediately, just something that I know that I've made. My mesh emitter, if you go to emissions, you'll see that it's our geo. We're going to change this to shot, and we'll just do 1,000 for now. And we'll give them 0 speed, just so they're kind of born, stay there, live there. And then now under output, this is where you're going to write your custom attributes. So we're going to check the UVW, and by default it just already creates a name for us. So if we press Control D and go to Simulation Particles, you'll see here is where it says Automatic Custom Properties. So it made UVW, it made it a vector because that's the 3 values that you need. And then it'll also show you where it is, and you can also remove them from here. The other way is you just come to here and add that, say you knew that you wanted to add your custom map and you wanted it to be UV, you come here, you say what type it is, vector, and then now you have a custom property. And then if we go back to our mesh emitter and you click this little down arrow, you can see all the custom attributes that you've made. But we're going to use UVW. And then the other thing we're going to need is a modifier, a particle node modifier. And if we bring this into our group, it'll affect just the group, and we'll just call this UVW color. And then we'll double click this, and then here, the cool thing about this is once you do it once, you can basically just kind of save this as a preset, and then you don't have to do this step every time. We're going to need a few nodes. We're going to need a sample shader, which is how we're going to apply this color information to our particles through the color. We're going to need to get our particle property that we created. So that would be our UVW, and it's a vector. And you'll see that it has XYZ. And then we're going to need to actually invert the Y. Again, another thing I learned from Noseman's stream is he said that it's just a legacy thing with how cinema interprets UVs and how modern day age, there was no standard, so I don't know, blah, blah, blah. You need to invert your Y. If we twirl this down, we can invert the Y. Otherwise, it'll just be upside down. And then take that to X. And then the last thing we need is the image. In this instance, it's just going to be the texture that this model has. I don't need to copy it. And I'm going to pipe that in the color. And then now we should have our particles being born. I'm going to hide the geo just so we don't see it. And now you can see that they're inheriting the color based on their position and getting the UVW from their where they were born on the mesh. And then the last step is to render these. You're going to need to add a RS object. You can do optimize spheres, and we'll just make them bigger in render just so we can see them, 3. And then you're going to need a shader. The shader, forgot the default is OpenPBR now. You're going to want user color data. And then in here under presets, under presets, you want to get particle color. And then we're going to pipe that to our color, and also I'm going to put it in the emission color. Then under emission, just set this to 1 would be fine. Go back to 1, start playing, and then hit play, and then there you go. You have your particles being illuminated from their emission from the color. And that's it. So the other takeaway from this is you can kind of do some other interesting things. Again, watching another training series with Dominic, he was going over how you can also like start to kill particles based on attributes. So say if you wanted to, if you twirl down the colors here, you can use a compare node, and you can take something like, say, like the, I don't know, red. Let me turn off IPR, and just like say if it's like less than 0.5 of red, to then kill those particles. Let me see if I dock this down here. Yeah, you'll see that basically now it has eliminated the particles that didn't have a red value. You could kind of just like switch this to other values to see. There's a green, there's a blue. You could do this with the alpha if you wanted. If you had an image with transparency and you wanted to, say you had like a black and white image and you wanted to only emit in certain parts, you could do that. You could also, under the emission, use a restriction tag. That's another way. You can like have a vertex map on your geometry, and then you can convert that to a poly select, and you can put that in your emission. It's another way of controlling it. So there's a lot of flexibility in this. It's great because it's in the new system, and there's a lot of like functionality between all the systems, but it's kind of like a quick run through of how you get that done. Again, they might change some of these, so I'm currently in 2026.2, so this is a pretty new version, and they kind of like, the thing they've updated by default is like kind of doing that automatic custom property, which is pretty good because the old way was kind of buggy. It's almost like you had to go in and like re-link the name in like, here in the particle property and in the mesh or in the emitter itself. So it was kind of funky, I found out, but yeah, this is great. So have fun. If there's anything that I did wrong, that there's a better way of doing, let me know in the comments, and good luck.